Hi, this is 365 and this is another hobby and review video. So this one I'm hoping to do painting by numbers. I have a couple of paint by numbers one, but this one I found in Lidl, and it's already on a canvas. So I was like, oh, I'll just do this one. But now I see it's got level advanced. I'm a little bit worried because I haven't done a paint by numbers since I was a child, and even then I wasn't particularly good at them. Painting just in general is fine, but painting in these little areas, and now that I'm seeing it, it's advanced and I'm not very good at that. If it was colouring in by pencil or something like that, that's fine, but the paint is always a little bit trickier. But I thought I would do something crafty, something that's relaxing, something that I can do. And there's also many more colours than I thought there would be. So I don't know how I'm going to get on, but we're going to give it a go anyway. So this is what I've got. It's a pack, Stony Creek Cottage by Thomas Kincaid Studios. 36 paint pots, 3 paintbrushes, 1 pre-printed canvas, reference sheet, wall hanging kit and instruction sheet. This is what it looks like on the back as well. We've got the numbers, which is very handy, an image of what it is, and some instructions. Now, they say that it's best to do the large spaces and let it dry and then redo it. But I have, like I said, purchased a couple of these, and all the other ones say start with the dark colours first and then work to the lighter colours and let it have a chance to dry in between. So I think I might do that because the darkest colour here is number 9, and if you look, there are quite large patches of it. So I think we're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone if we go for the dark, and that way I won't need to do like several layers on top, because that's the other thing as well. Once you've got one and you let it dry, you might need to do a second coat. But if it's dark, you only do it once. So yeah, I'm going to get some paper to cover the table. I think I'm going to get some water in jars or something for cleaning the brushes. And I'm going to get some scissors so I can open these up, and a cup of tea so I can have something warm to drink. So I'm going to get this all prepped and ready. And it is evening and it's very cold. We've got a cold snap here in the UK. I should be doing some reading and some other things, so I might put on an audiobook to listen to. I have already been listening to one, so I have a book to review for you. So I will get it all set up and started, and we'll do this one, which just looks like black. Number 9, and we'll try and do number 9, and I'll tell you all about some books that I've been reading lately. So I have some water. I've got a larger one and a smaller one, my cup of tea, and my scissors, and I've lined the table with some thin paper. I've got a couple of rolls of this anyway, so it's fine. And I've got some extra for when I'm trying to clean and dry the brushes. I do actually have some paintbrushes and things like that from a couple of years ago. I just don't know where I put them. I really need to go through all my stuff and organize it. And I think I need to get some more furniture, seeing as all of my drawers are full of books instead of actual objects of worth or use. There's nothing bad about books other than the fact that they're taking up space. So yeah, let's get the scissors and open up the box. Okay, so it does have stickiness. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to keep this box because it'll obviously be very useful with the colours. And it did say on the back that it was going to be something to use as a reference, especially if I start with the darker colours. I want to know where they all are and what it looks like. So yeah, this is going to be, I think I will use a glass or something and put it up over there. Right, let's see what else I have. Now I have this printout of all of the numbers, just in case I go over something, but it's not particularly useful. I guess I can see the numbers better. But yeah, so these are all the numbers. So this will be kind of useful as well. So put it over here. And then here we've got the paintbrushes, the paint, I don't know what else, the hanging stuff, some instructions, and the actual canvas, which is there. Hopefully it's going to be okay. So let's get this open. I like the idea of paint by numbers because it's, you know, sort of like colouring in, but you end up with something to hang, especially if it's one that's already on a canvas that's a stretched canvas. Then it's just an automatic thing you can put on the wall if you want to. If not, you can always paint over it and make your own art, which means you've got a canvas you can use in any way you want. So yeah, I kind of like that. The ones I bought previously didn't have the actual wooden canvas, they were just the cloth, which is why I was like, oh no. Yeah, let's see. These are the paints and the brushes. So let's get set up. So all of the paint come in long lines like this. I might cut this out so that I just have this pot, because I'm going to start with the darker colours. I know that it didn't say that, it said to start with the big areas, so that would be like 82 or maybe 22 here. But here you can see there's a big section of 9. There's a big section of 9 here as well. There's a big section 9 here. There's a big section 9 here. So I actually think starting with number 9, there's 9 there, 9 there, might be the way to go. So I'll have a good, oh, there's another wee 9 right there. So I'll have a good old look around and try and see where all of the 9s are. But I'm going to start by cutting this out, giving this a stir, and using the smaller one to go around the edge. And then hopefully be able to go in with the bigger brush and do all the other bits. Maybe this middle-sized brush for some of it. So yeah, so I'm only going to be focusing on number 9 just now. So I may as well cut it out of this little strip and open it up. Now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of got a green tinge to it. And 22 looks darker. Did they get the right numbers on? Now I'm confused. That says 25, 23, 22. Yeah, 22 should be dark as well. But this one looks like it's black. This one looks like it's green. I don't think it's showing up very well on the camera, but well, we shall see. Let's see. Number 8 is a grey. Yeah, well, it says what it is. So we should just go with it. I shouldn't question it. Should I? Let's see if I can open it up and not get paint everywhere. Let's move that out of the way. Oh my goodness. Am I going to be like this with all of them? Oh, actually, yeah, I've got it. Yeah, doesn't that look green? That looks kind of green. It doesn't look green on there, and it doesn't look green. I think that's it. Did I get the right one? Did I get the right one? It doesn't look like it on the picture. Like, let me just show you. Like, is it the same shade? Maybe on the camera it looks the same shade. This black line. Maybe it does have a hint of green. Maybe it dries darker. Don't know. We'll give it a go anyway. This is what I'm doing, all of the dark bits. So yeah, let's see if we give it a little touch and see if I can make it a point. This is the thing about them, like you get the paint on it and I'm just like, I don't know. Is it gonna get, ooh, here we go. Start in a corner, work your way out. Oh my God. I'm gonna be at this for hours, aren't I? Why is this not? I feel like a pen would be so much easier. Is there paint by? Oh, just the outside, just the lines. I don't think this is going to be very good for my eyesight either. I feel like this is kind of tedious already. I'm just starting. The whole point is to be relaxed, and I don't know if I'm going to be relaxed doing this. Maybe oh my God. This is probably going to take a long time, isn't it? Should I cue the speed up? Oh my God, I'm already out the lines. Oh. Way to make yourself feel like an adult who has not mastered the basics of making sure you stay within the lines. Is that what this is for? To humble us as adults? Oh, you thought you were all that, right? You thought you were so good because you were an adult. You can do all the things. Keep the paint inside the lines? No. There we go, maybe. I'm getting better. I feel like I'm already better. I don't think it's looking better, but I feel like I'm, oh, there we go. It's just been such a long time since I painted anything. And knowing that I'm better at painting walls. Oh, you're not getting anywhere near that line. Okay. Okay, whew. Well, you can see this is going to take some time. And I just got to fill this in. Why not? I mean, anyway, I did read some books. This was going to be, I don't know if this is going to be how I end up doing this, but I did read some books that are Christmas based memo romance, and I thought I could talk about them as I do this. And this could be my project for the next few weeks. Reading books and then getting a couple of colours done, or listening to audiobooks while I do it, and then I can tell you all about them. So yeah, instead of manga this time, just because I do want to feel some festive joy in my life. And I don't. And I haven't been reading very many. I read one last year that was amazing, fantastic, and I don't think I'm gonna get the same hit as I did. Okay. Apparently, that was number 9. Done. One little sliver. I don't know exactly. Oh, I can see it on the image, so I think that's it done. So yeah, we're moving on to this next bit. This is number 9, see? And this bit's number 9. So let's get a little bit more done. Check in with you when I've maybe filled in a little bit more. So I think I've done all of the 9s. I'm not like, there's a couple of wee bits you can see it's not perfect. I'm gonna need to go over them probably. And I'm not really getting the lines great, but it's still, probably from a distance it'll look fine, right? Anyway, I have now finished number 9, which I think is the darkest one. So I'm wondering what the next one is going to be. This is the image, so this is what I'm trying to get at, and this is what I got so far. So not too bad. So yeah, I'm gonna maybe go for the next darkest one, which I think is these brown ones. It is interesting how dark it dried, because in the pot inside it looks quite green. It's like a green tinge to it, but then it's dried really quite dark. So yeah, I think maybe one of the next dark ones I think is this one here, which is number 22. I don't know. I'm gonna have to have a look. There's some 22. There's some big 22s. Yeah, I think 22 might be the one to go. Look at this, the size of these 22s. So yeah, 22 is probably the one I'm going to go with next. Start with the dark, work to the lighter ones. That's what one of the instructions things said. So that's what I'm going to go with. I feel sneezing coming on. I am going to get all that set up, and then I'll tell you while I start doing 22 about the first one I actually read, which is called, what's it called? Fairy Cakes in Winter by Lane Hayes. So yeah, let's get set up and then I'll tell you all about that book. So Fairy Cakes in Winter I read via audio, and I did enjoy the narrator. The narrator did a good job. And it was one that I'd seen around since last year and I wanted to read. So I kind of was quite happy with being able to read it in audiobook form. And the narrator, yeah, I think did a good job of distinguishing between the two. I can't remember who it was. Was it Kurt Graves? I can't remember. Who was it? Maybe it was. But yeah, we follow someone called Scott, who is 39. He made himself sound so ancient, and I was like, excuse you, sir. 39? Oh, you are. They did make a joke about it, even in the book, which I thought was quite good. Oh, this is very, yeah, it's kind of grey, definitely. But on the picture, it looks like it dries more brown. Well, the magic of this is interesting. Anyway, let's get started with number 22. So Scott is a 39-year-old baker, and he's on his way back to the UK, where he now lives, even though he's originally from, was it Seattle? The Seattle area. Because he has a bakery business. And he is very much considered like the grumpy from the Grumpy Sunshine. And he's on the airplane, ready to go, hoping that someone won't sit next to him. And I'm like, sir, that doesn't make you grumpy. That's how it's being described. Oh, he's so grumpy because he doesn't want to have to sit next to someone on a 9-hour transatlantic flight. I'm like, hello, that is everyone in the world. I mean, at least it was hashtag relatable. Because I was like, yeah, if you get an empty seat next to you, it is like the joy of joys. And the last time I was on a plane, um, I was traveling with my family, and me and my dad were sat next to each other on a three-seater one. And we were like, oh, wouldn't it be great if there was no one sitting next to us? And lo and behold, lo and behold, there was no one sitting next to us. So we had on there and back again, on the holiday and on the way back, no one sitting next to us. We were just tickled pink. It was so good. So yeah, this was very relatable of Scott. He did not particularly want to have to sit next to someone, and if he did, he wanted them to be quiet, not chatty or obnoxious kind of flyer. Anyway, we get then introduced to Theo, who is a cutie patootie twink and the sunshine of the two, who's traveling to the UK, specifically England, to visit his mother, who now lives there. And he does not fly well. And so the two of them end up chatting and getting to know each other across this flight, and definitely feeling attraction towards one another. And it was a cute story. So they're on the flight, and then they get to England, and then the story carries on, and it's got baking, and it's got business, and it's got fun, sexy times. The sexy times were quite fun. I enjoyed it. It was good. And it was just an easy listen. And it was a little bit emotional as well, and I liked that. It just had a hint of emotion. So yeah, I definitely recommend Fairy Cakes in Winter. It's the kind of story that's set after Christmas, or maybe even after New Year. It's that time of the year. I think it would be a good time to read it is after Christmas. You know, that time between Christmas and New Year, when it starts to get like, oh, what are we doing? We're still in the festive mood because we're all on holiday, but technically, you know, we've got a bit of downtime, and maybe some people have to go back to work for a couple of days. But yeah, I think that would be the good time to read Fairy Cakes in Winter. And it does mean that I can add Lane Hayes to the list of easy listening for audiobooks or easy reading, because I did read some of it through, was it Kindle Unlimited? I did read some of it through that in ebook form. So yeah, very easy ozy kind of read, which I did enjoy. So yeah, that's the first one I've read. We'll see how I get on with this. I'm actually, at the moment, I'm going to continue doing this, but I'm actually going to listen to another audiobook as well. And I have actually started another one. And I don't think it's a very long one. I don't think it's great so far. But I'll let you know how I get on. But you can see how this is dark, and this is also dark. So yeah, we'll see. I need to fill in all of this, but I'm going to use the thick one for that. So yeah, wish me luck. I'm going to carry on for a bit. Okay, so I have now done number 22, or at least hopefully all of the 22s that, and it's really similar to, I mean, they look almost the exact same, don't they? They look the same. They don't look any different. Like, these are two different colors. They don't look that different. I don't know, maybe in a different light it will look different. I can see all the little white bits now. I need to go back over. I'll do that afterwards. Yeah, you can see. From a distance though, it looks like you can really see it come into light. You can really see that this is the house and that's a bridge, and yeah, you can see. I can see it coming together. So yeah, I did have a listen to. I finished His Holiday Crush by Carrie Z. I don't know who the narrator was because it was another audiobook. It was only okay. I don't think the narrator did a fabulous job, but he did an okay job. And I don't know if it was the narrator or if it was the actual story written itself. It was only just so, like a half stars type thing, like 2.5, maybe 3 at a push, probably 2.5. As an okay story to listen to, it was just fine. So we followed Max, who was who's a it was very like Hallmarky, a highfalutin lawyer who's gunning for a promotion, but who ends up having to come and visit his best friend and his 2 children in his hometown that he hasn't been back to for 10 years, and he ends up crashing his car just outside town and getting rescued by the local policeman, who is a bit of a hottie and who also just happens to be his best friend's younger brother that he hasn't seen for a while. So doesn't quite recognize that he's a hottie and he's grown up. And he ends up spending of course there's a storm, so he gets snowed in. I should really have like a bingo board. The Hallmark movie bingo board, but make it for this. I really should. I'll look out for one. see how I get on with that. But yeah, there's a snowstorm. He gets snowed in and ends up having to spend a few more days there. And in that process, spending time with Dominic, the younger brother, who's got PTSD because he was in the military as well. And so there's a lot of things going on with the best friend and his 2 girls and the ex-wife and things like that. And there's a third act conflict. And then it gets fairly quickly resolved. This is a story that takes place within the space of less than 2 weeks, and then there's like the epilogue at the end, and it was okay. His Holiday Crush, I think it was perfectly Hallmarky type story, and I think if I'd watched it as a 90-minute, it would have to be an 86 minute less than 90-minute Hallmark movie. I would have enjoyed it. I would have been like, this was really nice. I enjoyed this a lot. I could feel like that would be something that they could make quite easily. So yeah, it was like a Hallmark movie, but maybe just even lower stakes, I would have said. So yeah, the third act conflict, I was like, psh. So yeah, there was like a tragic backstory, hence the reason why he hadn't been there for 10 years, and the PTSD, ex-military, now cop. And I feel like there was the whole section. So the bit that I didn't really like is that his best friend Hal and the older brother Hal, he was now a single father to these 2 girls who were really young, because the wife, their mother, had run off. And for majority of the book, we just get this side of the story that she's this terrible mother who left the kids. And it's not until right at the end, after the third act kind of conflict happens, that we find out that she's suffering from mental health issues and has had depression and other mental health issues for a long time and has been really struggling. And I feel like that really should have been addressed or mentioned earlier, because up to that point you're like, oh, what did you're waiting to find out, like, what is it? Did she run off with another man? What is it that what has she been doing? What's happened? Why is, this mother abandoned her children? And it's that she literally just was like, I need to get out. I need to have this. She had a mental health crisis and needed to leave and needs to work on herself, and she's not coping. She didn't cope. And it was like, up to that point, reading this male romance story, you're like, oh, what a terrible woman this woman is. But in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, but there's an underlying reason. Like she left for a reason. Is it going to be something, that we can continue to dislike her for? Like she's left the family for another man, and she's abandoned her children for this other guy, whatever it is. Which would be easier to dislike her, and it would be easier for the dislike of the brothers. And it's not. It's a mental health issue. Just like, I really feel like there should have been more empathy there, because that's all it came down to, that she had a mental health crisis and just had to get out of town. She just had to leave. And she didn't want to come back because she knows that she needs to deal with it. And I was just like, that's sympathetic. That's a really sympathetic reason. And I was kind of expecting it to be something terrible, and it wasn't. Like terrible as in we're going to continue to hate this character. No, I felt really sorry for this character, because obviously she felt overwhelmed. And it wasn't till right to the end that the husband, Hal, was like, yeah, she's been struggling with this for years. I was just like, so what's been done to help and support her? So I felt like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that was maybe a misfire for me over the whole of the story. Other than that, so I don't need to go in and think that there's it's a perfectly fine Hallmark movie. No, there's a kind of novel. No, there's an element in it. I was like, that really should have been, like, that was held back for a reason, because you needed to know this, and it was like, why? But the reason was, oh, actually, she's a sympathetic character, and I'm not entirely sure if it paints his best friend or the brother who the guy ends up with, Max, ends up with Dominic. And I'm like, I'm not sure if it paints everyone in the most sympathetic light by the end of it. Anyway, I finished that, and I've started a new one. I'm doing the remaking of Corbin Whale by Rowan, is it Parrish? I've tried listening to this a couple of times. I like would switch it on, but then I'd be like, nah, after literally like a minute. But I have now listened to it more than a minute, so I feel like I'm going to complete that. I don't know which one to go to next in terms of my colours. What do you think? I need another dark one, and we've done 9, which is this one here. And we've done 22, which is this one here. So I think maybe like this one. Which will probably be, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B1. B1 I think is quite dark. 66 is pretty dark. That's the grey one though. So yeah, these are the colours. And colours wise, I think actually, yeah, B1 or 93. 93 is actually right here, so 93 and 92, they're a bit lighter. But yeah, so I don't know what one I'm gonna go to next, but I'll check in when I've got more books to talk about. I'm gonna make sure my water gets changed and that these brushes get cleaned. As you can see how green that is, and yet on here it's so dark. So yeah, I will check in when I've got some more painting done and some more books read or listened to. More wintry, Christmassy themed ones for MM Romance. Hopefully with a bit more light. I am doing this quite late at night because we are getting snow. It's Arctic winds. Got my heating on, trying to be cozy and doing some more of this. And I think I might just continue listening to my book. So yeah, I'll check in with you later. So, good morning. It is the next day. I actually have now done 5 dark ones, and so you can really see it starting to come together. I have, of course, spotted a couple of ones of like the earlier ones that I haven't actually managed. Like there's a number 9 here, and I'm like, damn it! And I think there's one up here as well. I think somewhere. I'm like, why did I miss that? There's a 9. Damn it. So yeah, we'll have to fill those in. So I have done 5 so far, and it's looking like a picture. It's starting to. I do think that the colours themselves on the paint are slightly darker than these ones, so I don't expect it to be as vibrant as that, or at least not as bright and colourful. So I think it'll be slightly more muted. But yeah, I have now finished another book. Just this morning, I listened to the end of the remaking of Corbin Whale. That was it, yeah, by Rowan Parrish and is it Chris Chalmers? I think did the audio narration. So this was on my Audible, so I have another audiobook to read after this one. This was an interesting one. I know Rowan Parrish has lots of people really enjoy the work, and I've been recommended a couple. I read one, I think it was like Better Than People, which I thought it had a similar kind of lilt, I think is a good way to say it. It's got a atmosphere to it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was quite flowery and poetic in its writing, and it was an interesting story. So we follow Alex, who goes back to his hometown. Going back to their hometown one. Really should get the bingo board out for Hallmark movies. See how many I can tick off. This is set before Thanksgiving and into Hanukkah. So it's kind of around this point in time in the year. So I feel good about the fact that I'm reading it now, or I've read it now. And so he goes back to his hometown, and his mum, who had a cafe, has signed it over to him, and he's lost his boyfriend, of course, and his job, of course, and decides to open a bakery, of course. So I've got another baker. I mean, really, I feel like I should have a bingo board and just tick things off. The similarities. There's been cake. There's been mentions of cake in every single book so far I've read. But yeah, it's been an interesting one because of the language, but also because of the character. So Alex, on his first day of opening the bakery / coffee place that he's opened, meets a man who he just is like insta love. It really is. He instantly is attracted to him, and his name is Corbin Whale, and he's kind of an oddity. He's someone who is, I would say, like, he's very much written to be like from witch's stock. Like, he's very in tune with nature and the land and signs, and he seems more in tune with the spiritual realm, I guess, when nature is involved. So he's almost like fae. He's kind of fae-like, but he's human. And he's very lonely, and he's been alone for a long time. And he's been abused in many ways by the local town folk, by just being different and coming from a different family. And so he's a bit standoffish, but he's very intrigued by Alex. He also, unfortunately, has a reason for not wanting to be with anyone. And so it's just the two of them negotiating this and working through both of their issues and what kind of people they are. There was a character introduced called Gareth, who I thought would have more of his own story or something going on. So I'm wondering if he has like his own book, if Rowan Parrish wrote Gareth's story somewhere else. But when I looked on Goodreads, it didn't say that it was connected in any way to another book. So I'm wondering if we just don't get Gareth's story. But he was an interesting character. He was Alex's best friend and who had unfortunately married a wrong 'un and decided to come and live with Alex for a little bit. So yeah, the snow last night has piled up a little bit. It's about, I would say, maybe 7 centimeters, something like that. So not too much, but it's still very cold. Minus temperatures. I don't know if you can see out. It's very white. Snow, 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 and the sun's just coming around. I think it's around 10 or something. And I'm luckily not working today, so I don't actually need to go out. I did have plans to do some videos and stuff like that, but I might go out anyway just to have a bit of a walk. I also have to start some more reading and things. I think it's buddy read time for November, so I've got manga to read too, which is very not really conducive to the atmosphere of, whereas the remaking of Corbin Whale definitely had the same snowy atmosphere. It kind of had that sort of sense of magic, which I enjoyed. So yeah, that was that one. I think I've got Akira Andrews to read next. So I'm going to probably listen to that while I move on to some more dark colours. I think 61 is a brown-ish one. And also, let's pull this out. The Bees. I think B1 is quite dark as well. That does look quite dark. So yeah, these are the next ones. Then maybe... yeah. B1 and 61. And we'll see about the others. But yeah, those are the dark ones. And I do think actually doing the dark ones first does help to give you the sense of what the picture's going to look like. It's quite good. If you've been listening and hearing in the background a little meow, it's because Poppy's on the window. And she's meowing quite loudly. I'll give her a treat and send her on her way. It's very cold outside though. I would not want to be a cat that's told, out you go. I can see why she wants to get back in my house.
The concrete was brutally unforgiving. Freezing rain pellets peppered Jeremy's face like Mother Nature opening fire with a machine gun. Falling had completely knocked the wind out of him, and he blinked up at the blur of a lamppost wound with holiday lights. Without his glasses, the starbursts of blue and white were massive in the darkness. He could hear laughter, and wondered if he'd said the virgin thing aloud. Male voices hooted and howled, and if Jeremy hadn't managed to knock off his glasses when he'd flailed on the ice, he'd probably see the guys pointing at him too. Shit, bro, that was epic. Wipe out. Too bad we didn't record it. Stop being dicks. A baritone cut through the laughter, coming close to Jeremy, a shadowy figure blocking the blurry light as the person leaned over him.
Okay, so I have been making a bit more progress and using a lot more well, shades. Now I've got a little bit more color, so I'm going in with greens, going in with some dark ones and filling in. So from here it's starting to look a bit more like the picture, but I still think the picture looks great. This just looks very dark. So yeah, I'm not too sure what it's going to end up looking like. But yes, I have now used all of these colours. And even though when I get to one of the ends, I'm like, oh, and I find something, one of the other ones, like, oh, I missed that one, or I missed that one, that kind of thing. So I do occasionally find spots that I need to fill up. Ooh. And I have been listening to an audiobook while I've been doing it, and I just finished, literally just now. Merry Cherry Christmas by Kira Andrews as an audiobook. I enjoyed it. It was very hallmarky. It was very college age. We follow Jeremy, who ends up falling on the ice. He's a freshman at university in Toronto, and a guy comes over to help him, and he is in his final year. He is helping him. But at the same time, he accidentally crushes his glasses, so he can't see anything. Jeremy can't see anything, so he ends up going and helping him back to his dorm, and they end up chatting instead of going out with his bros. So yeah, the two of them end up getting to know each other a bit more. Jeremy just kind of ends up telling him all about himself and accidentally confessing that he's gay, that he's actually only come out to his parents recently and that it's not gone well, and he hasn't really come out to anyone before, and that he's a virgin, and so he doesn't have any friends, and just about how terrible his life is. So this wonderful jock ends up saying that he'll take him under his wing and get him some boots and take him to get his glasses and show him around town and introduce him to the gay culture and be his wingman and get him laid. And of course, inevitable. It's always inevitable that in these kinds of situations, they within the practice, love blossoms along with some smexy times. So that's what I quite enjoyed about it. It was Kira Andrews and Kurt Graves, I think, did the narration. So yeah, it was good. Sorry, I just had to sneeze there. My sinuses are all bunged up because I've been putting the heating on so much because of the cold. So snowy just now. Hopefully in a couple of days' time it'll start heating up and maybe melting. So, but yeah, my sinuses have not been great. Maybe also because my head's down looking at this painting, I'm feeling a little bit discombobulated. I'm going to switch the heating off because I'm feeling my head's going a bit fuzzy. Also, listening to an audiobook with headphones on, probably also not a good idea. Anyway, I did enjoy, did I say what his name was? Max and Jeremy. Yeah, it was a good one. It was Kira Andrews, so I expected it to be perfectly fine, and it was. I do enjoy her writing, but I've only actually, I think, ever really read her Christmas stuff. I ended up getting like a box set and listened to that a couple of years ago. And I think I've only ever really listened to Christmas ones of hers. I should probably give her other works a bit of a go. I also enjoyed this one because we had like talk of other characters that I had read in that Christmas anthology or short story box set. And I was like Daddy something, a Daddy Christmas or something like that. It was about a guy who goes home to his hometown and he's needing money anyway, so he has to take a job as an elf. And the guy who they get to play the Santa in the mall is like a hottie. and a total daddy, and he's like, yeah, definitely. And the two of them end up getting together. He like owns it's a tree farm one. It's a tree farm daddy. And I laughed so much with it, but was also like, that was kind of cute for a daddy story. I'm not a huge fan of daddy stories, but the fact that they were characters in this felt good because I'd already read their story, so it was nice to revisit them and see that they're doing well. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, so I feel like I should read more Kira Andrews Christmassy ones, or just Kira Andrews in general. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I might give my head a bit of a break and read something with my eyes and see how much I can get done. And then there's a lot of new ones coming out, and I'm not too sure what I want to read next. We'll find out. I also have manga to read, so I'm going to be taking maybe a little bit of a break. I'll take some manga upstairs. So that's all I'm going to do tonight of this. I'm feeling good about it. It's looking good. It's looking like a house with a bridge. I feel like you can see the dots though, so the coverage isn't the best. But in person it doesn't look as white, like there's little white spots everywhere. But in person it looks fine. I think it looks worse on camera. But I'm quite enjoying this as well. We'll see. We'll see. This is advanced, so, and even with this as this is the smallest nib. It's not as small as I would want it to be with the level of detail that's in this. So yeah. But I do feel like this has been the perfect winter day. I honestly feel like today has been the perfect winter day. I took a short walk, so I got some fresh air and exercise. I got some snacks. I got some good things to eat. I did some chores. I did some adulting things. I sat with the windows, with the blinds up totally, so I could see the snow falling, lovely, with candles on and incense burning and a little cute crafting and an audiobook. I've just had a great day. So yeah, maybe the Merry Cherry Christmas one. It was only a few hours. It was great, but I really enjoyed myself today. So yeah, we will see how far I get along with this and the next Christmassy male romance that I read. I don't know what I'm gonna. You'll know now though. So I'm back for another day, and I have listened to another Kira Andrews. And I've made quite a bit of progress with some more colours, which is quite nice. I'm enjoying this. I feel like I'm making progress. So these are the ones I've used. Darkers, and then these are the ones that I still to use that are a bit more colourful. This is number 13, and I thought it's kind of a shiny one, so I might leave it. There's quite a lot of 13 bits. It has got some coverage though, which is good, but when it went on quite watery, so I thought it'll probably need a couple of coats. But yeah, it does look, you can see all the little dots of white, but when I'm looking at it, not through the camera lens, but just in real life, it looks fine. It doesn't look like it's got all these wee dots around. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, I did finish listening to another Kira Andrews Christmas audiobook. This one is the Christmas Veto and is the third in the Festive Fakes series. So a couple of years ago when I last did like a big Christmassy male romance reading, like a couple of weeks, it was just all male romance Christmas stories. It was great. I did end up reading the first two. I'm trying to remember what the first one was called. The Christmas Fake? Something like that. And one of the main characters in the Christmas Veto is a younger boy. And so the two main characters in that story have, in fact, the characters in the second book as well also make an appearance, but they are the parents of Connor, the main character in this one. And he is struggling with his sexuality as he's a med student, and he ends up going to a fancy Thanksgiving dinner hosted by the grandmother of his best friend, who he still hangs out with, even though they've kind of grown up and they're in their early 20s, starting to be adults in the world. And he's always had a bit of a crush on Asher, his best friend's older brother, Reed. And Reed just happens to have come out as bisexual and is very much trying to find a man who he can pretend to date so that his grandmother will stop setting him up with women because she's a bit biphobic. So he's trying to find a boyfriend, even if it's fake, and sees a hottie who just happens to be his younger brother's best friend. So it's, brother's best friend type thing. If it's from Reed's perspective, or if it's from Connor's, I'm guessing it's best friend's brother. So yeah, it was another fake dating one, which I quite enjoy, the forced proximity fake dating, and the two had quite a lot in common in terms of the stresses in their life and things like that, and what they were looking for, but also other things going on. And the third act breakup wasn't a thing, which I quite enjoyed, but there was the tension of what part of the plot was. And so once again, Kira Andrews has just produced a lovely low stakes Christmas story. I enjoy the low stakes, low angst, just feel good Hallmark movie type setting. It was really nice. They were in New York, going on New York dates, and then they were in Albany, and yeah, it was really good. So good morning. This is another day. It's been a few days since I got to do this. I haven't done too much to it. I mean, I've added a bit of colour now since I had visitors. I feel like it's looking quite good. These are the ones that I think I did a little bit of A4. I think that was the last one I was doing. And then these are the ones I haven't coloured yet. So there's still 2 big sections and a few little ones here and there. I am going to continue with doing it from the darker colours to the lighter colours. So I'm thinking like that's actually quite an okay colour. Number 77 maybe, that kind of thing. Number 69, maybe 90. But these are very bright, and I think yeah, maybe 43 is a good one to go. So here over in this corner we've got 43 and 4. So these two colours together quite a lot. So we'll see about getting those ones in. I probably still have some of these not coloured in places. That's something. And I did want to do number 13 because you can see on the tab it looks quite dark. And inside it looks quite dark, but when it's on here, it's actually kind of a gold, and it needs 2 coats. And I'm wondering if I do number 13 and then go back over and do them all as a second coat, because then it would be fresh in my mind where they are. Because this was one I was gonna do a while ago, but it didn't. It was supposed to be the same kind of color, but it's quite a vibrant goldy color. So I think that might be one to do, especially because there's quite a few of them up here, 13s. What's the other ones? Like 25 is a bright one as well. B5 is there. So they're all the bright ones. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe. But then there's also ones like this, 74. That could be good. 75. Brighter. And then darker colours. It's difficult when they're different colours, whereas here they're all kind of shades, other than 40, they're all kind of shades of brown and green. So yeah, it's time to do some more colouring and actually make it look more vibrant, and also talk about some more male Christmassy romances. So I'm thinking I'm going to start with number 13. I'm going to start in this area here. Just to try and see if I can get them. You can see it. Maybe can you see? It's kind of goldy, right? So yeah, it's got a little bit of a bronzy metallic tinge to the paint. So we'll see if we can get some of it done. But I do think it's going to need double coat, just because it's a little thin. Let's see. So yeah, it's not quite as, because I can still see the number 13, which means I am going to have to do double coats for sure. The fact that it's see-through means I could probably quite easily see where I need to do another coat, but I think I will just do some of these first of all, and then go back in with a second coat as well. I'm quite happy that I've done all of these dark colours because it makes it so much easier to paint. Because I don't care if it goes over a previous colour ever so slightly because it is so thin. But yeah, I feel like this was, it was still a challenge. The fact that it's an advanced version of paint by numbers. I really should have gone for the easy, an easier one would have been a good introduction, because it's been such a long time since I had to do anything like this, or just painting in general. So yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of this first. Got my cup of coffee. Hopefully the lighting's okay for this. We have had, it probably is actually brighter because we've had more snow. We've gone into another cold snap. So I started this in a cold snap. We had a bit of a warm spell, and now we're back into a cold snap. So there is lots of snow everywhere outside. And that just generally helps to bounce some of the light back into my living room. Just with the way my house is positioned, it's a little bit difficult to always film things in the wintertime due to the position of my house, the light, the way that the sun moves across the sky, and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a little bit brighter. Oh, there's a car coming. Just because of all the snow, that helps. So hopefully that it makes it a bit easier to film. I thought I would talk about the next one that I read, which is Once Upon a Sexy Scrooge, which I kind of feel like isn't the best title. It's hilarious, and it kind of is about what happened, but it not really as well. So I mean, there's a Scrooge in it. There's a definite Scrooge, but I'm not sure if it's the best title. But I did pick it because it had a cool title, so I guess it worked. So yeah, this is by Ella Frank and Brooke Blaine, and it's kind of like a little Christmas novella. It definitely could have been longer, but it was the size that it was, and it was a nice little short audiobook. I did end up buying, I think everything that I'm going to talk about is just audiobooks, so I've been enjoying the audiobook. Maybe I'll have to go into ebooks and things like that. Some Kindle Unlimited. So give me your Christmas mail romance recommendations, please. And they can be, if there's an audiobook that you really love that I don't end up talking about, please do tell me which is your favourite Christmas MM Romance audiobook, because I would absolutely love to listen to some more that I know are enjoyable and people have given good ratings to. Because there are still some that are maybe not the best. Anyway, Once Upon a Sexy Scrooge, actually really enjoyed. It was very predictable, but that's okay for a kind of hallmarky Christmas movie type situation, because that's the whole point. You want it to be, fairly low angst. You don't want to be bawling your eyes out. And I got quite emotional with some of these. Even with this one, there was a moment, and I knew that it was going to be good writing because it's Ella Frank and Brooke Blaine, and it's made me think I want to try, which is Ella Frank's series, because there's a lot of crossover between characters from both of their works, but I've only ever read the things that they've done together, and I've enjoyed them. I think they're very competently written, and that's what I really enjoy. I ignore the sound of my computer about to take off. It's exporting video. Anyway, so we follow Maxwell, which I was like, hold on, didn't I just read something with a Maxwell? No, I think that was a Maxfield. I was like, fine. Fine. So Max seems to be a popular one, and he is sitting in traffic. So we start off the book, he's sitting in traffic in New York, reminiscing about the previous year, and so you already know, it's not like a spoiler, that he obviously doesn't end up with the guy that he's about to reminisce about, because he's sitting in traffic. And so the story that he's reminiscing is actually the story that, so he's like sitting in traffic and thinking, oh God, this time last year, what was I doing? And he's thinking about driving down to try and purchase some land off of a guy who owns a Christmas tree farm, of course, called Micah. And he's very Scrooge-like because he hates Christmas, and he, of course, isn't wearing the correct attire for snowy, storm-hit, beautiful Christmassy Christmas tree farm. Is not dressed appropriately. He's not got the right stuff, and he's wanting to purchase it so that they can develop the land into a fancy upmarket retreat type thing, which I don't agree with. I'm just like, that goes against the grain for me. I don't know, maybe because I live in Scotland and so much of our land is owned by wealthy elites that don't do anything for, it doesn't help the people who live here. So yeah, I'm very much on that side of things. Anyway, enough of my politics. He's wanting to, as a highfalutin kind of businessy, lawyery type person, want to purchase this land, and he's been trying to purchase it off of this lumberjack guy for a while now, and he keeps rejecting the offers. So he decides to drive down just before Christmas to try and see if he can seal the deal, as it were. And I think he does, but in other ways. So yeah, he meets Micah, who's this lumberjack, and he's very rude to him straight away because he thinks he's just someone who works on the land. He wants to speak to the owner, please, and thank you. And of course, that's who he's talking to, because he doesn't realise that people who own the land actually work it. Would you Adam and Eve it? So yeah, he ends up, being very attracted to him, but being quite rude, and then not having anywhere to stay, and then of course there's a storm and everything, and he's not got the correct tires on his car, and Micah ends up doing something very silly. He takes a part of his car out, so he has to stay. So he has to experience the lovely cabin and this lumberjack man, uh and he has to, go into the local town and purchase things so that he can stay, so he's got clothes to wear. And um I mean, there was a lot going on. He ends up meeting Micah's family. He ends up meeting all the people in the town. He he finds out that they do a lot of charity work and they look after people, and that it's a great place. And of course, he falls in love with Micah, and he falls in love with Micah's family. The found family thing is a big thing in fact, quite a few of the stories I read this year or listened to in audiobook form, and I really enjoyed it. Maxwell comes from a family background where they didn't really celebrate Christmas, so he doesn't really understand and experience the joy of Christmas in the same way, and then he gets introduced to them. There's a snarky banter between the two. There was obvious sexual tension and attraction, which I enjoyed, and there was a lot of fun nonsense with family members, and there's that emotional, weight of, well, you missed out because your family, your parents didn't care enough and, didn't spend time with you, and that's why you're heartless and soulless. Ended up a lawyer, shark of a lawyer. But the two of them get on really well, and it's really fun, and I love the banter, and I did find it incredibly moving and emotional when when he leaves, because he's only there for a few days and the storm passes, and they're honest, and he gives his piece of his car back, but they leave on good terms. He leaves them on good terms, and then you end up back in New York, sitting in traffic with him, realizing that he's still in love with this man, and that he goes to him. And it's just such a perfectly formed little Christmas. And if that was a Christmas movie, if that was a Hallmark, I mean, I've said this quite a few, if these were Hallmark Christmas movies, but make them gay, I would watch the shit out of all of them. There's been a few recently, but they're not the best. But I want more. I want more Christmas movies that have gay or lesbian couples or bisexual couples, or I want more of that in my life, because I don't always enjoy Hallmark movies when the woman is so stupid, or the man is gruff and arrogant. I'm like, I don't find that attractive. So there's different things that I don't know, that I like about Hallmark movies, but there's certain things that I just don't. And I think, give me the gay ones. I want more gay Hallmark movies. I think we need to have more of that in the world. Good ones. And I do think that this Once Upon a Sexy Scrooge, maybe change the title for the movie release, but it's a very nice, perfectly formed little novella, and I think it could have been actually. This is one of those ones that I do think could have been longer, and I still would have enjoyed it just as much. I would have probably enjoyed it even more if there was more things in it. But I think the fact that it was so short meant that it could be, the conflict didn't have to be so over the top, because the third act conflicts are always kind of annoying, whereas this one, obviously there was a bit of a third act conflict, but it was kind of resolved in a way that was really beautiful, and that they kept in touch throughout the year, writing letters, and I was just like, oh, so yeah. So yes, I very much enjoyed it. I do recommend Once Upon a Sexy Scrooge, Ella Frank and Brooke Blaine. Very, very nice. I'm going to continue with number 13. I'm almost done with number 13, and then I don't know which colour I'm going to go through next. But I have listened to another one, and that is a Jay Northcote one, which I have done in the past before. But I'm going to get this changed over because I'm almost finished 13 and choose another colour. Okay, so I think I finished with 13. You can kind of see it's kind of shimmery. I kind of like it. I have number 69 and number 74, which are quite similar. And I think I'm going to go with these ones. So I'm going to go with, I've got my scissors out again to do these. I know number 90 is probably a good one because it's going to be a lot of things that need coverage. And then they've got some bright ones like 43, which would be good at the corners because I don't think there's many. So number 4 and number 43. Number 43 is kind of a darker one. So, but I'm going to go with 69 to start with. Just because it's there. Clean my brush. So I can talk about another one that I listened to. This was just on Amazon because I was walking to work and I was like, oh, I don't know what to listen to now. Oh. And so I found a Jay Northcote book. I've listened to one of his before, and it was What Happens at Christmas, which is about two best friends. Have I done this already? 69? Maybe I have. Have I done 69 already? Oh, no, there's definitely some 69 up there that I missed. Maybe it's just that. Because look, I obviously have. It's just because I knew I'd spotted one that said 69 and... Oh well, there is one up here that I have not gotten. So that's getting filled in. Well, that's good. That's another one done. But yeah, Jay Northcote is very British in his writing. And some of that kind of things I like. Depends. But I do kind of enjoy it because, like, Alexis Hall sometimes writes very British things. And I like that. It's like British sitcoms and that kind of thing. It's got that sort of feel to it, which I quite enjoy. But yeah, I think I've done this one already. So What Happens at Christmas was kind of an enjoyable one. I read it a couple of years ago, and it was like childhood friends who were kind of flatmates over Christmas ended up getting together, and it was kind of a cute one. But it was only so-so. It was only okay. I guess we're doing 74. 74 it is, which I think is kind of a light one. Let's have a look. Yeah, I haven't done this one yet. There we go. So in this one, what was it called? A Family for Christmas. You can imagine, found family. We are following Zach, who is a new employee of this company, social media manager type thing. And the company is like an LGBT like charity type thing. And he works with people, but he's kind of standoffish. He's the grumpy to someone else's sunshine, and the sunshine is Rudy, I think his name was. And oh, I'm gonna be careful. That's the first time I've actually put paint on me. And Rudy has such a crush on Zach. It's kind of unbelievable. It's a bit ridiculous. He's already got a thing for him, whereas Zach was like, oh, he's kind of cute, but he wasn't really all that interested. But they end up going on their staff night out for Christmas, and they share a kiss and maybe some kind of sexy time, but not full sexy time. And then they also have a bit of heart to heart, and then Zach lets Rudy know that he isn't actually doing anything for Christmas, and so he invites him to his home in, is it Exeter, somewhere like that. So his family own quite a big farmhouse type thing, and all the family are going home, and Rudy's like, yeah, you should come. He totally loves it. Zach is totally aware of Rudy's feelings for him. It's kind of a bit, because at that point Zach's like, yeah, I'm not, he's cute, but I'm not that interested. But that's because he's not wanting to get to know anyone. He's fine with hookups and stuff. But we don't find out later on until why that is. Like he's staying in a crummy bedsit. He's not giving himself nice things. He's not giving himself opportunities. He's not giving himself opportunities for emotional connections with people because he's experienced a lot of loss in that already, and he's gone through the care system, so he doesn't have this family background of people who he can spend time with, but also he's had to build a bit of a shell to protect himself because he has gone through the care system and he has been, unfortunately, in it a couple of times due to circumstances. So he's got to this stage where, and he was like homeless as well for a while, so he's very grateful for what he has, but he's also very aware that this isn't what everyone else does. And by spending a Christmas in a family situation where the mum, has just made fresh mince pies, because who does that? I've only done it a few times. I mean, it's one of those things to make fresh mince pies. Especially if you're making the pastry yourself. Oh no, thanks. I'll buy the pastry, and I'll buy the mincemeat out of the jar, and maybe put it together. That's like a fun, like Christmassy build up to Christmas kind of activity to make homemade mince pies. And yeah, it's like a big aga, and all those little things that are very British. Anyway, of course they end up falling in love because that's the whole point. But my thing is, I don't know if I would have preferred this if I had read it in an ebook form or physical book form versus listening to it. And unfortunately, I don't think the audiobook narrator did a great job outside of the speech. When the narrator is doing speech, he puts so much emotion into it, and it's really great, and you get a sense of who the characters are. But when he's doing his narration voice, like, and he said this, and then this happened, and all that kind of, it's so almost monotone, and it has a certain rhythm to it. He'll say 3 to 5 words, and it's like a brief pause. It has a rhythm that I don't find, a cadence maybe is the right word, that I don't find as engaging. I think that's the best way to say it. As when he's doing speech. So it was emotional. There was a lot of a bit of angst in there and a lot of pining, but I only really felt the emotion when it was the characters speaking to each other compared to when actions were being described or when things were happening. I feel like the narrator maybe, and I'm not sure if it's Jay Northcote's writing or if it's the narrator, and I suspect it's the narrator. So if I had read the book, I think I probably would have enjoyed it a bit more. It was very British, so if you like British things, then you could definitely enjoy this. And I think he's written other books. Is it a he, Jay Northcote? I assume it's a he, but I probably shouldn't. Other Christmassy ones. So I might give them a go. But I'm not sure how much I would enjoy it. I don't think I'm ever going to give it 5 stars. Let's put it that way. I just don't think the writing, or maybe it is the delivery of the narrator. Maybe it was certain things. Certain things I didn't really enjoy, and it kind of felt a little dated. I don't know when it was written. Maybe was it 2016, something like that. So been a while. So there's definitely some aspects I was like, felt a little bit dated from it in a British sense. But yeah, it was okay, but not my favorite, is what I'm saying. So I am spotting more and more bits that I haven't filled in. Even just number 13 that I just did. I spotted a couple. Now I need to find where they are. Damn it. Yeah, there's one way down here. There it is. Number 13 that I haven't filled in. And I spotted this 66 that I haven't filled in, and this A6. I was like, hold on, didn't I done that one already? 57, have I got a 57? No, that's one I haven't done. So 57 is fine. 93, 93 is over here somewhere. B1, I found a B1. Where are they down here? So yeah, I am finding ones that I have supposed to have filled in. 93, have I done 93? Yeah, there's 93. So yeah, there's a couple here that I'm now, because they're literally in the middle of nowhere. 75, I think that's 75. So I'm fine with that one. But I'm finding some that I'm like, hold on, I've already done that one, haven't I? Yeah, and 85, have I done 85? Damn, I think I've done 85 as well. I have, yes. So yeah, there's definitely, you can see it up close, all the little dots, but from far away, it doesn't look too bad. It looks all right. Looks like it's a lot more colourful now with these, just these couple, you know, with number 13 and number 74, number 69. I found another 69, didn't I? Yeah, there's another 69. I've missed a B4. Have I got a note? I've not done B4 yet. I have to keep track. Number 93, see? There's a 93 I haven't done. Damn it. So yeah, it's kind of fun actually to spot them. And to try and see if I can get them filled in when I spot them. I'm feeling like 25 and B5 would really help. See, there's the 13. There's the other 13. Damn it. I think B5 and 25. So that's the B5 and the 25. They're not the darkest colours, obviously, but I feel like this would help me to fill in a lot of those sections here in the middle. That would make it more obvious when I've got a couple little holes to fill in, that kind of thing. So yeah, these are the ones I think I might go with next and try and see if we can get them filled in. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 25 because it is technically darker than B5, just because. So yeah, I'm gonna slightly go off piste at the moment. But yeah, so I have these ones that I'm technically all done, but I haven't actually all done. And while I'm doing number 25, I can talk about some rereads that I did. I have an audiobook, which is a Christmas Mail Romance collection by Kira Andrews. And there's 4 books in that, and I did reread them. So I can go through some of them while I'm doing number 25, which I think starts down here. But I should probably start at the top and work my way down, shouldn't I? So I start number 25. Let's see. If we got, oh, it's quite a bright, vibrant colour, isn't it? I'm going to have to be careful, haven't I? Gonna have to be careful. Right. We're going to start chatting about Kira Andrews, who I do enjoy her low angst, low stakes kind of one. So I've read quite a few Kira Andrews already, kind of just incidentally. And this one is a 4 collection of 4, which is quite good. What am I doing? Number 25. Called, the first one's called, is it 8 Nights in December? 8 Nights in December, and it's about Hanukkah. So it's a happy Hanukkah one, which is kind of cool because I don't know how many Hanukkah. I mean, I think we're getting more of them, but yeah, it's kind of a nice one. So we start off with, gosh, that's bright. Lucas, who is not feeling very happy in his dorm. He's sharing a room with like a senior, someone who's about to graduate, who is also a bit of a jock, who's not very much like him, who parties but who's nice to him and, you know, invites him to stuff, and but is kind of a bro, man. And it's Christmas and he's all on his own. He's not feeling very happy, and he ends up meeting his roommate's mother, who asks him what his plans are for the Christmas break. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to stay here. And she's like, on your own? He's like, yeah. And she's like, no, you're not. Pack your bags. She just kind of railroads him into coming to spend the holiday season with their family. And instead of rooming with his normal roommate, who's like, you know, like in his own room, he ends up having to room with his younger brother, Nate, who is kind of a bit of a standoffish. He's like kind of the black sheep of the family, you know. He's so was Lucas is pre-med and Nate is pre-law, I think. They're in different universities. Wow, 25. Is that right? Did I do that? Yeah, I did. So he's not really sure about Nate, but he is very attracted to him instantly. He's gay, he knows he's gay, but he hasn't let his roommate know, because he doesn't really want to, just in case he's homophobic. So he's not really sure about letting Nate know, but he's like, oh my god, this guy is hot. And he's very attracted to him. Oh, I'm doing a terrible job. That was a terrible job. Let's try and fix that. So yeah, he ends up watching him shower and getting a little bit too excited. Oh yeah, and he's a virgin. Mainly because of his tragic backstory, because of course, he is an orphan and he just lost his dad. He lost his mum when he was younger, and him and his dad were his only family, or any family nearby kind of thing. And unfortunately he passed away. And he promised his dad that he would go to college, but he didn't. He's not really happy about it. So he's not really sure what he's doing with his life, which is, you know, understandable and relatable. Anyway, he ends up hanging out with Nate, who's also going through his own wee crisis of what to do with his life. I feel like this is quite a good thing, because it means that they have something to bond over, but also something to butt heads over. Nate decides to kind of come out in that respect to him, and the two of them are actually gay and kind of hiding their sexuality and going through the Jewish motions of the holiday season, and he's learning about Jewish traditions, and Nate's taking him around New York and showing all of the different New York things, and they're hanging out, and he's getting to know that Nate's a lot more than meets the eye, as it were, that he's not showing his family. So he's not come out to any of them, and he's not really sure he wants to. Anyway, they end up hanging out. Christmas. Well, it's not really. It's Hanukkah. And which was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. And they do end up eventually coming out, and he ends up, it's very much found family again. Someone going to someone else's house and spending time with their family and falling in love with their family as much as their family falls in love with them, as much as they fall in love with each other. It's another one of those stories, but this time make it Jewish in New York. And I kind of enjoyed it. It was really good. It was there was a bit of angst, obviously, and it was quite emotional when it comes to, you know, someone who's lost all of their family and lost their reason for doing what they're doing, and isn't really sure about what they want to do with life. And then someone else who feels like they can't be themselves around the people that they care about and that they love the most because they don't think they're going to be accepted by them because of an offhand comment made by a parent years before. You know, you got to watch what you say to your kids. That's what I think. But yeah, I don't know. There's quite a few of these little 25s. Don't seem to be the easiest to spot. I don't think there's many 25s, to be fair. There's a 23 that I think I have missed. Damn it. I just keep spotting all the ones that I've missed. Yeah, 25. Looking for some 25s. Any 25s over here? No, I think there's a lot of 25s down the bottom here-ish. This is about... but yeah, so that was a good one. It was just... kind of a bit sad in some respects that people didn't feel like they could be themselves, or they didn't know who they were, what they were doing. So yeah, but it was very competently done because it was Kira Andrews. So I'm going to finish off 25. I don't think I've got many more to go. Very yellow looking, isn't it? So I'm going to do B5 next, which is this middle one, so I do need to cut it. In the course of doing number 25, I have spotted so many that needed to be filled in that hadn't been filled in. It's crazy. So I did that for a wee bit. So it actually does look like it's a lot more filled. And I still have spotted a couple more since then, but I'm like, that's fine. Let's move on to B5 and let's see if we can get some of that done. Because I don't think there's many B5 sections. And I can talk about another quick little novella. I do enjoy a Christmas novella. I always feel like they could be longer, but then they're perfectly formed as they are. Anyway, this one's called In Case of Emergency, which, where am I going? B5. B5, what am I doing? Let's start at the top. This follows Daniel Diaz and Cole, what was his surname? I don't remember. Cole and Daniel, who were stepbrothers when Cole was about 13 and Daniel must have been 16, 17, 18, that kind of age. There's a little bit of an age gap. Kind of looks very pointy. And it ends up that Daniel is finally going to be having a holiday. He's a bit of a workaholic, of course. He's in the HR department of an app development company. And did I do that? Yeah, B5. And he's been working very hard. He's made, some sort of new position. And he's finally going to have a bit of a holiday with someone, a workplace. I was like, if you work in HR, there's no way. This is where it falls down. There's no way you are having a relationship with someone who you work with or who works in the same, even if you're not in the same department or anything, there's no way you would choose to have a relationship, even a fling, a dalliance with someone at work. If you worked in HR, you'd be like, no, this is crazy. Which is the only thing that makes me go, But yeah, so Daniel gets a phone call saying that he's the emergency contact for someone called Cole, and he or Nicholas, something like that. Is it Nicholas? That's why he's Nicole Cole. Yeah, I think he's called Nicholas. Anyway, he gets a phone call saying, hey, you're the emergency contact. He's fallen down and he's been taken to the emergency. He's got maybe a possible concussion and a broken arm or something like that. And you're the emergency contact. And he's like, I do not know who this person is. But then he kind of like remembers, oh, hold on, maybe it's one of my mum's ex-husband's children. And so he phones his mum up and she's like, yeah, he put you down as, I told him to do that. So he's like, okay. So he's in the same city or area, Toronto, I think it was supposed to be. And they go up to Quebec, I think, in the end. But yeah, so it's an ex-stepbrother romance, which I think is a fun one when someone has a crush on their stepbrother, who's kind of a bit of a douche to him when he was younger. At least he owns it. He's like, yeah, I was probably a bit of a douche to you. And he was like, yeah, but you were hot, so it's fine. So he goes to the hospital and gets him, collects him, and then they end up. Is that all my B5s at the top? Let me just check. I'm concentrating on this at the same time. It's two things at the same time. It's very difficult. B5s. I don't think any more B5s. I have this sheet of paper which I've not been using very much. Yeah, it's 85. Whoops. See? Spotted. B5. B4 is there. No B5s. B4, 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 B4. Okay, so I think the B5s are down here at this little section. So yeah, he goes to the hospital, meets up with Cole. Cole is like having a bit of a hard time, concussed, and his arms in a cast, and also there's his childhood crush coming to collect him, and he's like, oh no. So he needs to be looked after because he's got a concussion, but I have since found out, probably from Kira, who found out herself, that of course you don't need to do the protocol or whatever it is that, but I don't know, medical knowledge changes and stuff, and I'm assuming this was written at the time when you did need to wake someone up every few hours. So yeah, so he needs to take this Cole, who has grown up to be a hottie, that he's like, I don't remember you being my brother, jeez. He needs to go and take him with him on the holiday that he was going to plan with this romantic getaway in a cabin with someone who he works with. And he was wanting to change his life and make change and make things better. And then when he gets to the cabin with Cole, his work hookup is there with a lot of other work colleagues. So he thought he was going for a romantic weekend, and it turns out no, he's not. And that's enough for him to be like, okay, no, this guy isn't for me. And the people who he's with from work are also like, dude, I thought you said we were invited. And it turns out he didn't tell them either. So they're kind of pissed at him too. So yeah, they stay for a couple of days as Cole gets better. They of course have to share a bed because there's all these extra people. There was only one bed left. So he ends up sharing a bed with him, Daniel and Cole, and they just get to know each other a bit more after all these years, and they find out that, well, Cole's like, I still like him, he's still a hottie, and Daniel's like, this kid isn't a kid anymore, and also is a hottie, and they have a lot in common. Cole remembers so much about him. I think for Daniel, it's very much like someone sees him and likes him and wants to be with him and remembers who he was. There's talk of an ex-boyfriend and that kind of stuff, and that's a bit of trauma for him, and that's usually the little sense of there's been something going on. And yeah, I'm not too sure. Daniel kind of just latches on to Cole, and Cole's quite happy for him to do that, and so they end up having a nice little romance in this little Christmas cabin getaway. And it does sound like it's very nice. I mean, I wouldn't mind going. It sounds like a nice place to visit. In the snow and little village, and go and watch movies and just have a good time. So yeah, it was an interesting one. I don't think it was the best, but it was okay. I enjoyed it because I liked Cole as a character. He was fun. I wasn't too sure about Daniel because he did, I mean, to be fair, he did need to lighten up a bit. But he needed the right person to do that. Someone who respected him and liked him. And the douchebag from work was definitely not that. It turned out that it was a dare to try and see if they could bang him, and it was all very unprofessional, which is what I said at the beginning. You don't do it. There's another 13. God damn it. I think that's all the B5s. Of course I say that, and then 2 seconds later I'm going to spot another one. But yeah, so yeah, that was that one. It was okay. It wasn't the best. Can you actually even see this? Is it focused? It's not even in focus, is it? There we go. So yeah, there's the other 13 spotted. I don't know what I'm going to go for next, but I do know what the story is. I'll tell you about. But yeah, I'll fill in that 13, then we'll get another colour on the go. Hopefully in focus too. I feel like maybe number 43 is probably a good one. I know 75 as well. Well, both 77 and 75, but they're kind of pale. So I think maybe number 43 is quite a dark one. And B8 is quite a dark one. So I think, well, I still think 43 and 4. So maybe do 43 then 75? Or 90. No, 90 is quite pale. These are all quite pale except for a couple of bright ones. So 43, 4, B4 and B8 are the ones. So I think I'm going to go with 43 as the next colour. Okay, so this base here is lots of number 43s. So we're going to get a number 43. And hopefully it will actually stay focused. And I can tell you all about the third story in that anthology. Anthology, is that what you would call it? Collection. Oh, it's quite an interesting colour actually. Doesn't look it from the outside, but yeah. There's before, and this is 43. Number 43. No other 43s here? No. Santa Daddy. Santa Daddy is one that I've actually already mentioned because Kira Andrews had another story that kind of have a connection to this one. So they end up going to the tree farm, another lumberjack tree farmer. Yes. Get your bingo boards at the ready. And so these characters were actually already in that. And so this is like the story of how they got together. I'm not doing this very well. And it's Hunter and, oh gosh, what's his name? Hold on a second. Let me just check. Nick. His name is Nick. Why did I forget? Yeah, so we follow Hunter, who is young and a virgin. Bingo boards. This is what's fun about reading these, seeing the similarities in what's chosen as a trope, as a Christmassy trope. I feel like this would be a fun thing to actually go through and see and make up for next year. So yeah, he is a college graduate and he went through a bit of an awkward pimply phase. So he didn't really, plus he was gay. He came out in his hometown and, but nothing really happened and he's not actually done anything. So he kind of is at this stage in his life, but he's also more concerned about what he's doing with his life. He doesn't know what to do. So he graduated with his English degree because he was good at it and he enjoyed it. And he ended up having 3 unpaid internships And honestly, I agree with Kira when she says they should be illegal. You shouldn't be allowed to have unpaid internships. This is a weird American thing. You can volunteer, but an internship is like training that you're not getting paid for. In the UK, we don't have that. We have low paid apprenticeships, and that they don't usually require a degree. So you're already in debt in America, and then you're going to go off and do unpaid work while at the same time you are forced to pay back your loans, your student loans. That's not something we do in the UK. Even if, I mean, in Scotland, we have a much better system than England. Sorry, England. But it's true. Because we have caps on how much you can get charged for your student debt. So in England, it's way high. It's like $9,000 a year or something to go to uni as an undergraduate. And in Scotland, I think it's still only around 2,000, or it was 1,000. It was like 1,100 when I was at uni. I don't know what it is now, but I think it's still very low. So it's like less than $2,000 for the year, compared to 9+. I think it's gonna be 9. It's 9,300, I think, at the moment. 9,300. I think it's gonna be 9,500 next year. That's insane. Why would a degree cost that much? So ridiculous. And that's because we're allowing American things to come into. Anyway, I'm on my soapbox. Anyway, he's got student loan debt. Oh, that's the other thing. So you don't pay back your student loans until you start earning money over a certain threshold. But in America, you have to pay back your student loans generally, no matter how much you're earning. It's like you have to. And I was like, that's insane. What if you can't get a job? And they're like, yeah, that happens. And it's like, what? You go wait tables. And I'm like, even that's, Jesus. Anyway, so poor Hunter. I I felt a lot of sympathy for him, being in this situation where he's trying to get a foot in the door to get a proper like corporate office job, even though he's not really enjoying it, because he knows he's got his debts to pay back from getting his degree, but also because he feels like he should, because his mum worked really hard. He's from a single family, so of course he's not had a father figure in his life. I think that's maybe a stretch, but anyway, not everyone who wants or needs a daddy did not have a daddy growing up, but it's something that's used a lot, and I'm not mad at it. So poor Hunter, the virgin, student loan debts, he needs something to do. His third internship has fallen through with no job, no prospects from the city. He's coming back home. I think this was even in Canada, so I can't even blame American culture for it, because I think it was in Canada that this was set. That's BS, by the way. Unpaid internships, absolute the devil. Anyway, he comes back home and he gets a wee part-time job, a weekend job, as the elf at the Santa's Grotto that he used to do during holidays and stuff. And it turns out that the Santa that they usually have fell and broke his hip, so they had to get a replacement, who just happens to be the haughty daddy lumberjack Christmas tree farmer. Who would believe it? With a tortured past and grieving widow. Oh no. Who hasn't been a daddy for a long time. He's in need of being a daddy. Yeah. And the two of them end up butting heads straight away, because he's a grumpy to Hunter's Sunshine. Because of course there's a grumpy Sunshine as well. That seems to be a big part of most of these stories. I just enjoyed it. It was good. The things that happened, like there was a car crash. There was another car crash in snow. Bingo board. There was a lovely dog. I think that should be on the bingo board. There's always a nice dog. And yeah, there was another one. Yeah, so he had a nice dog. He was Nick in his farm. He needed some help because he'd taken the weekend off to be the Santa. So he was a couple of days behind the jobs that he needed doing and he didn't have any help. So he ended up hiring Hunter because his friend kind of forced him. And then, of course, Hunter goes off the road in a car crash and he hung up on him. And I was like, this is a douche. He's absolutely horrendous. He does feel incredibly bad about it. But then almost instantly fucks him. I mean, he heats him up. And I was like, I think this kid's probably got more shock. And he's still like instantly, and he's fine with it. Hunter is fine with it. Hunter goes straight in for the daddiness. He's totally okay with it. He wants a daddy. He finds him attractive. It's fine. They are consenting adults. But they do have sex very quickly. I mean, it is a novella, so you kind of expect that. But yeah, there's the trauma. There's some cute things. I think it's hilarious that he's supposed to be 46, I think, and the mother is 50. Is he 45? He's in his 40s. She is just 50. They're closer in age than with a son. There's like 20 years of a difference. It's hilarious. But I like how they gel and they're quite good. I liked how at a certain point Hunter stands up for himself in a big way, especially outside of the bedroom. He categorically says, sure, in the bedroom you're in charge, you're the daddy, but out here we are equals. And I'm not putting up with that shit. Rein that attitude in, boy. And I did enjoy that. I thought that was quite good. Did I do that right? 43. So yeah, this was one of my favorites, even though I am not a daddy fan. I am not a daddy fan. I don't enjoy daddies. 43. Was that 48? Did I do the right ones? No, it was 43, wasn't it? 43. And then these ones down here, 43. No, I did them right. So yeah. Oh, my computer switched off. 43. I don't know if there's any more 43s. Have I got them all? I think I've got them. Maybe up here. Oh, there's one up here. So yeah, it was a good one. I enjoyed it. Even though I'm not really a big fan of daddies, I enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed Hunter as a character. I enjoyed the setup as well, and I liked how it gave him a chance to show what he could do that he had learned from his degree and from his internship experience. So it meant that the internship experience wasn't a waste. It was something that he could use, that he could put into good use, that it wasn't wasted time or effort, which I feel is a good thing, because he was really feeling like a lot of the time he spent doing all of these things and not getting anywhere was just a waste of money and time, and he was becoming a burden. And I feel like that's a big thing for a lot of people. So I liked that was addressed, and that he was able to put his skills and his knowledge into practice when it came to the tree farm, but also go out and about and be active and discover new sides of himself that he didn't know that he had. And the two of them working together. I do think Nick got the better end of the deal, even if, I mean, he liked a daddy. That was the whole thing. He wanted one. And he enjoyed the experience. And that was also a positive. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Daddy. Do you like daddy stories? I'm just not really a big fan. Anyway, I think that's all I've got from this one. Let's see what else I've got next. I've got one more story to talk about. Now I've got number 4, which I think is the next brightest one, but this isn't quite dry yet. So I don't know if I should go into another one like B8, which is also pretty bright. B8 I don't think has too many around here. I just don't want them to touch. So yeah, maybe B8. I don't actually know where this is. I'm going to give this a wee look and see and decide which one we're going to go with next. Right, it's had a wee bit of time to dry because I've been filling in some of the other ones that I spotted that I hadn't finished. So yeah, we're going to go for this one. It is super bright, and as you may have noticed, I've had to put the light on because the clouds have rolled in and there's a little bit of a breeze. I don't know, it's either going to rain or snow. There's still a lot of snow on the ground and temperature is quite low, but you never know because they've been getting it wrong quite a bit, saying it will snow when it rains, and when it rains, saying it's going to rain when it snows. So yeah, let's go with number 4, which I think is going to end up needing a couple of coats because there's not much coverage there. And the last one to talk about is Where the Love Light Gleams, which was part of this collection. And who are they? Oh yeah, Ryan and Carrie, and they are actors in Hollywood. And Ryan is gay. He is out. He's quite happy to be out, and he's on this sci-fi show. And has a crush on Carrie, who is his co-star, who the show is putting together in a gay relationship, which is going to be like a first. So it's like very fun sci-fi kind of show, and they're having to do kissing scenes on set. They become very good friends doing the show together, and Ryan is heading home to Canada to spend Christmas with his family, and Carrie is supposed to be going on a health retreat with his girlfriend, who he's not getting on terribly well with. And Ryan is kind of like, oh well, but he's been pining for this guy who he knows he can't have because, as far as he knows, he's straight. And even though there's a lot of tension, sexual tension, but he's like, well, if you don't want to, you can always come and visit with me. This is where we're staying. And it turns out that he gets a phone call when he's got to the cottage that they all spend their Christmas in as a family, and he gets a phone call saying, hey, I'm not actually going on the retreat, I'm coming to spend Christmas with you. So Carrie decides to come once again, found family, a whole cast of characters that are family, it's all family based stuff. And basically this one is just about Carrie coming to terms with his bisexuality and getting to experience what a real family Christmas is like, because he's not experienced that before because of the fact that he's from a dynasty, an acting pedigree that he has inherited from very conservative parents, or at least from his father, who's kind of pushed him into acting. And he likes it, he enjoys it, but he doesn't want to follow in his dad's footsteps and just do what he does. He doesn't rank it very much or highly. So yeah, it's about the two of them growing closer, coming to terms with their feelings for each other, and a bit of more ice falling through the ice again. This was something that was in Santa Daddy as well. And lots of family stuff as well, which seems quite fun. I enjoyed it. It was good, but it wasn't like my favourite. It was probably my least favourite, actually, out of all of them. Maybe because it was the ages that they were. They're fairly young, and there was a I don't know, maybe I usually enjoy the gay pining bisexuality trope, but this one just wasn't my favorite for whatever reason. I don't know if it was the characters or the two main characters, because the family characters were great. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if you can even see that. It's quite orange looking, isn't it? But there you go. Let's find some more. So yeah, this was not my absolute favourite of the four, but I don't think you can actually see, can you? There we go. I've got a couple more fours over here to do. And we'll try and finish this off. So yeah, I've got some fours here and some fours here. This one here. But I don't really know what to listen to now, or have I had my fill of Christmas male romance stories. I've enjoyed doing it as an audiobook, but I'm just wondering if there's some on KU that you would recommend. Because I still have KU, but I'm in the process of deciding whether or not I want to continue with it into 2025. I do like audiobooks, and you can get cheaper audiobooks if you have KU, but I'm not too sure if I've been utilizing it enough in that way to justify carrying on and continuing with it. So yeah, I need some more recommendations. I'm going to continue doing this. I will check in when I've got a little bit more of the way through and you can actually see it, because I don't know if you can it's not actually focusing. So yeah, I'll get this to focus first.
Amnesiac experience that while we do get a bit of a seasonal bump in the better math rate, it's nothing like you get in less toilet-focused industries. There's still a rush, Jonathan insists. Yes, most people get their partner's socks or
So I am almost done. I just have number 82 left to do, which is a very pale off-white colour. So it's almost finished. It's looking quite good. I'm quite happy about that. Just because once I'd finished the last ones that were all the pale colours, so like this blue and pink and this yellowy one, I spotted all the ones that were still hanging about unfinished yet. So I still have just this one to do, and then it'll be done. So there we go. That's it completed. Looks quite good actually from a distance. It's not quite the same as the picture. It's kind of a bit more vibrant actually. The colours are very bright actually, so yeah. I quite like how the bridge looks. It does need, I mean, you can kind of, I don't actually know if you can see. Let's see if I can find, there's a couple places where you can see the numbers underneath. See, there's a number 13, 74, those kinds of things. 70, I don't know, is that 71, 75? Something like that. So yeah, there's a few, 74. So yeah, I can see that some of the paints were very thick and hard to put on, and some were a little bit thinner and meant that you needed at least 2 coats, because that's the number 13, quite shiny, and that's 2 coats. This one here, this was the first one I did. But yeah, you can see a couple of them need a second coat for sure. But yeah, 13 has ended up being quite shiny. So if I turn it, I don't know if you can see if it catches the light. But yeah, from an angle you can kind of see the shininess. So yeah, number 13 is quite an interesting one. But it does mean it's a little bit thin in places and needs to have a second coat. Some of them generally will need to have a second coat. And some of them I don't think the colours are quite right. Don't think quite matches. It looks different on the screen than it does in person as it does in there. So there's like 3 different colours going on. But I do like how it just kind of goes together. I do like how the bridge ended up, because I was a bit like, not sure that's going to turn out right. But it's fine. It's fine. So I'm quite happy. I managed an advanced one. And it was quite relaxing to do something like this whilst listening to audiobooks. So I have listened to quite a few. While I was finishing up doing the last few, which was like 48, 49, 71, 90. So those are the last ones I was doing. And I was listening once again to my favourite, 10 Things That Never Happened, by Alexis Hall. It is, and I think it will continue to be my favourite Christmas gay romance. Just because it is so much like an episode, a Christmas episode of Gavin and Stacey with a Richard Curtis, like Love Actually type movie, cross between those two in book form. It just is perfect, but also make it gay, of course. So yeah, it's my fave, which I try not to go and do, but I feel like this was fine for the last wee bit to go through and get the last bit painted. I could just listen to that. Yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed listening to me as I do one of these. I do want to do more of these. I have more kits and things like this for hobbies and stuff. And my plan was to do 6 in 2024, and I did not manage it. This is my 3rd. So I would like to try at least 3 more. I'm going to be realistic. 3 more hobbies next year and see if I can do other things like this, because I did enjoy it. So if you could give me any recommendations for little hobbies to try, that'd be great. And also, if you could give me any recommendations for other male romance Christmas stories to listen to or read on KU. I do have lots of credits for Audible as well, so if there are some audiobooks that you think, you would enjoy this. I like low stakes. I like a little bit of emotional angst, just a little. And I quite enjoy a lot of the tropes, because there's been a lot of tropes in here. So yeah, if you could give me some recommendations or tell me what your favourite is down in the comments, that'd be great, because I feel like I need some more for Christmas. But yeah, hopefully you've taken some of these stories as recommendations that you might want to listen to. Let me know if you do. Merry Christmas if this is edited and up before Christmas. Fingers crossed. It will be. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!